And breaking news coming in this hour, the latest on the IPL scandal that was likely to be taken up by the Supreme Court today. The BCCI matter, we're now being told, has been adjourned by the Supreme Court till the 25th of March. The Supreme Court has also refused a third-party intervention to put on record some contentious audio tapes. The Supreme Court was to resume hearing the IPL spot-fixing case on the report submitted by Justice Mudgal led 3-member panel. Let's get in a word from our correspondent Jaskirat Singh Bawa, who's joining us on the phone line from outside the Supreme Court. Jaskirat, explain to us the points that are being put out. Supreme Court has refused a third-party intervention to put on record some contentious audio tapes. What is this all about?
This is with reference to a news channel which had conducted a sting operation which they wanted to put on record to be inculcated in the entire hearing with regards to the IPL spot-fixing matter in the Supreme Court. Now, they have said, the Supreme Court has suggested that the committee that they had set up was sufficient enough in terms of the investigation that was conducted, the probe that was conducted, and they will go by the records of that committee for the time being. What has happened today is it was a very quick adjournment. What will happen on the 25th of March is the final date. We expect the Supreme Court to reconcile to the Justice Mudgal Committee report, take into consideration the BCCI's response, which came in yesterday, in which BCCI will agree to a lot of recommendations, actually disagree with some key recommendations, including separation of the IPL from the BCCI, also saying that to look into the conflict of interest matter when Srinivasan was beyond the scope of the Mudgal Committee report. Now, this, along with the Petitioner Cricket Association of Bihar, all the responses will be taken in together, and the Supreme Court on the 25th of March is likely to indicate which direction this should be headed in, whether or not they agree with the actual original plea to set up a special investigating team to look into the matter.
Jaskirat, hi, this is Boria from the studio. Two things here. You said on the 25th is the final hearing. I mean, if I understand, was it a date of admission today and will it be heard at the top on the 25th? Can you give us a sense as to what you are expecting from what you just told me, that both sides will be heard and an indication will be given on the matter on the 25th? So can we expect an order on the 25th?
Well, that is correct. It seems like we could say almost certainly, but not completely 100%. There seems an indication from the Supreme Court that on the 25th of March, we could have some sort of an indication from the Supreme Court as to where it stands on the original piece in this matter filed against the Bombay High Court order by the BCCI as well as intervening party of Cricket Association of Bihar. So we could actually get an understanding about the Supreme Court as to what extent does it agree with the Mudgal Committee report, how far it agrees with the BCCI's response, and what reservations the Cricket Association of Bihar may have in the BCCI's response. So whether the setup of an investigating team is required, if at all it's required, what will be its terms and conditions, there is a likelihood, it is being felt amongst legal teams on both sides, that could come out perhaps on the 25th of March.
Can you give us a sense of the legal teams on both sides? If I understand right, was it... can you just give us who were the people present, what were the counsels like, what was the body language like? Just give us a sense of what exactly happened in the court.
This is a rather quick hearing compared to our previous hearings. Not much deliberation took place except for this one moment where this private news channel tried to intervene along with what they say are transcripts of certain cases they have, which the Supreme Court refused on that particular occasion. And that very moment said that we would not like anything else to be placed on record. We have sufficient information, we have sufficient records, and we will go as per those records. Now, the main counsel from the BCCI side was not being able to present at that particular moment. But then again, like I said, there weren't any arguments that took place. Already, BCCI has filed its response yesterday, which was being taken cognizance of. The Cricket Association of Bihar has already had burnt the midnight oil trying to figure out a response to the BCCI's suggestions or BCCI's response to the Mudgal Committee report. So what we are given to understand is that 20th of March, the Supreme Court indicated will be the final hearing in this matter, and it seems in all probability likely that the Supreme Court may make up its mind on the 25th of March itself and dispose of the petition after making up its mind.
Okay, that is a most significant observation that you are making, that the Cricket Association of Bihar will now have the opportunity for a rejoinder, point number one for our viewers. And point number 2 is on the 25th of March, the Supreme Court will be in a position to give out some sort of order. At least that's what you are expecting. So do you now assume, or do you now presume, that the Cricket Association of Bihar, as the petitioners, will have the right to offer their rejoinder to the BCCI response? When do you expect that to get submitted? And on the 25th, will this matter be heard for sure? Or because the IPL will be starting in the first week of April. So there is a certain amount of urgency to the matter, isn't it?
Well, that's correct, and that's certainly understandable over here amongst all the top-notch lawyers who are involved in this particular case. On the 25th of March, even if the Supreme Court, let's say by some situation, twist of fate, the Supreme Court is unable to sit on the 25th of March, it is likely that all concerned parties, including the opposing sides, are likely to inform the Supreme Court that this is a matter of urgent hearing, because the IPL is expected to begin this season itself within less than a month itself, which is why it is impeccable or very important that on the 25th of March itself, the hearing should continue. Now, given that, having spoken to the legal team over here, we're not getting an exact sense as to how soon the Cricket Association of Bihar will be filing a rejoinder to the BCCI's response to the Mudgal committee report, but that should be done definitely before 25th of March, because the Supreme Court bench itself will be considering that, perhaps going to it, because that is the understanding we get, that maybe no further extensive arguments, but further deliberation over just the responses that have been filed so far. Yesterday by the BCCI to the Mudgal committee report. We get the sense that on the 25th of March, the Supreme Court will finally make up its mind based on all three parties, that is the Mudgal committee report's findings, BCCI's response to those committee report findings, and the Cricket Association of Bihar's rejoinders.
Final question, Jaskirat, before I toss it back to Simi, is, do you assume that the Cricket Association of Bihar will not file a rejoinder which is too long? Because obviously, if that is the case, then the BCCI will seek more time from the Supreme Court. So is that the strategy that you expect will be followed? And can you once again reiterate what you are saying, that on 25th, we will have an order, or likely to have an order, which will perhaps bring this sordid saga, which has been continuing for 1 year, to at least a partial close?
Well, yes, to answer your second question, first, the Supreme Court has posted the IPL spot fixing matter for final hearing, is what, as per the court records, for the 25th of March. Now, to go back to your first question, we are given to understand that the Cricket Association of Bihar did not find any satisfaction in the final part of BCCI's response, which was filed yesterday, specifically referring to BCCI telling the Supreme Court that the Mudgal committee report went beyond its scope to indulge in the conflict of interest references with regards to their president, and that's why they will not comment on it. It is believed that Cricket Association of Bihar will go back to their main plea, the original plea itself, which suggests that there is in fact a conflict of interest, and that is exactly what is actually the crux or the genesis of the entire problem.
That's fascinating. Thank you very much for joining with us, Jaskirat. Simi, it's absolutely fascinating from what I hear. 25th of March is actually turning out to be the day, because if it's final hearing, you can expect an order. You can also expect the Cricket Association of Bihar to go back and reiterate what Jaskirat was saying about the conflict of interest. So clearly dragging the BCCI president N. Srinivasan back to the fold of this whole matter. So obviously from now on, the next 18 days will be extremely interesting for all cricket fans. We've got to wait and watch what happens on the 25th, because that is the date that the Supreme Court has fixed for final hearing of this IPL matter.